the preamp. The preamp is our proprietary tube circuit, which is low plate voltage but full transfer function. So there's 20 dB of gain in the tube circuit itself. Because the tube is running on a low plate voltage, however, it lasts essentially forever. We tell people, just in case, for safety's sake, change it once every 15 years. So the tube sound is very big, very detailed, very open. One of the important things to see is that there's a phase rotator switch in the preamp, and the value of that is on this screen. I don't know if you can capture it. Here you see the voice has a lot of asymmetry. With the phase rotator switch in, the signal is now much more symmetrical, and as a result, with the same maximum peak, you now get more average level. So that's a nice feature that people who are involved in trying to get the maximum loudness with the same peak can use that. They have to look at their waveform themselves to see how much asymmetry they have in their own voices. Then you have the compressor, and what the compressor does, it is we call it the Easy Rider, or the wave-dependent compressor. It sounds like a slow attack compressor, which sounds much better than a fast attack, but a slow attack all the time would generate lots of overshoots. If you generate lots of overshoots, a downstream limiter would have to work that much harder. So what this does is, when it needs to, it kicks into a faster attack and release. So the signal is packaged. So the value of that is, in a broadcast situation where there's aggressive processing downstream, it doesn't force it into heavier limiting or knock it back down. So the other advantage of that is, if you're recording the voice is already packaged. You don't have to post it. The other advantage in a live setting is that the target of that voice in terms of level is maintained, but not forcing the downstream processing to work that much harder. It doesn't work at all. Then you have the logic assisted gate, and what that does is, when it needs to, it attenuates and just is very accurate, doesn't false trigger, and opens up very smoothly. And the advantage of the gate also within the box is, when the gate engages, it freezes the release of the compressor. So the gate and the compressor are working together to essentially do less processing. Then there's the split band de-esser. It's a phase coherent filter at 5K, and just takes the edge off the sibilance. It doesn't change the body of the voice. It doesn't punch holes in the audio. Again, the whole idea of this box is to maintain intelligibility and not feel that it's processed, not to change the naturalness of the sound. The next circuit is the big bottom. And what that does, it's almost an anti-compressor. So as the signal goes down, as the input goes down, the effect is more pronounced. So if you have lots of bass present, it's doing almost nothing. If there's not very much bass in the signal, it's doing more. The value of that is that it compensates for proximity effect. So as a speaker gets off mic, losing bass, it builds it up. As the person gets right on the mic, it's doing almost nothing, so it doesn't get muddy. The value of that is that the person who's speaking can work the mic much more easily, so the area around the mic is much more consistent. Then there's the EQ, the parametric EQ for a room or for a particular voice. And then there's the aural exciter, and what the aural exciter does It makes the sound much more open, much more detailed, much more present. The effect is particularly valuable in a reverberant or a noisy environment. The aural exciter brings those benefits without adding level, so it doesn't further excite the reverberant field. Also, what is very interesting, and I have no explanation for it, is that the effect is actually much more audible off-axis from the speaker than right in front of the speaker. You lose a lot of high-end, mid and high-end off-axis, and with the aural exciter, it tends to build that up, but right in front of the speaker, it's not as dramatic an effect. So to help fix a difficult acoustic environment, it's magical. So that's why it's used in a lot of acoustically difficult churches. And one of the most interesting applications is for railway stations that are very high noise.